You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. A round of severe thunderstorms rocked northeast Wisconsin Wednesday. Tornado warnings were issued in Outagamie, Waupaca, Oconto, and Menominee counties. 2 tornadoes were reported in Clintonville and Lena. Trees and power lines were downed in Kashina. The National Weather Service will dispatch storm survey crews to investigate further. The body of a missing Hortonville High School graduate in La Crosse has been found. 22-year-old Elliot Hines was last seen Sunday morning. Police in Houston County, Minnesota found her body in the Mississippi River Wednesday. Police continue to investigate and are awaiting autopsy reports for the official cause of death. The buildings at the former Badger sheet metal site are coming down. This week, Green Bay Mayor Eric Genrich and other community leaders kicked off the demolition to make way for a new fire station, something that Green Bay Metro Fire Chief Matthew Knott says is a long time coming.
This is going to replace 2 buildings that we have that are currently 100 years old and 88 years old. Both of those buildings have numerous challenges, as you could imagine, from being structures that old. This brings modern safety features, modern equipment, and really things that make our firefighters work much easier and much safer in the long run. So very excited about this project.
The development on South Broadway near the Shipyard District will transform a 5.25-acre brownfield site into a vibrant mixed-use development featuring the new Green Bay Metro Fire Station, 85 affordable housing units, and ground floor retail space. The publicly owned Green Bay Packers saw a 10% increase in revenue for the fiscal year ending in March of 2025. However, net income dropped by $12.5 million. CEO Mark Murphy says the discrepancy stems from a decline in non-operating income, which includes things like investments. Months after emerging victorious in the most expensive state Supreme Court race in American history, Justice-elect Susan Crawford is finally set to be sworn in. Crawford will officially take her seat on the court for a 10-year term on August 1st, with a ceremony in the state capitol rotunda at 4:30 p.m. Her victory in the April election preserved a 4-3 liberal majority on the state's highest court. State Appeals Court Judge Chris Taylor has announced her candidacy for the 2026 election, which could further solidify the liberal majority. A Wisconsin farmer is slamming efforts underway to protect the weed killer Roundup. If a law is passed, thousands of claims linking the product to cancer would be tossed out. Here's Civic Media's Terry Barr.
Hans Breitenmoser is speaking openly about the moves by Bayer, the owner of Roundup, to be legally protected from lawsuits filed against the company. More than 90% of the corn and soybean crops in the state are treated with a weed killer, and the Lincoln County farmer believes people have the right to hold a product accountable if there are health issues associated with it. There are more than 180,000 claims across the country, including Wisconsin, alleging Roundup caused cancer.
If you're producing a product and there's hazards with it, then you have to be able to step up and defend it. But to try and change the rules on how the referee operates so that you don't have to defend it is total BS, and we should be calling BS on that.
Breitenmoser also believes Bayer's lobbying is a part of a growing problem, the use of corporate money to influence state agriculture policy. Now, 2 states signed a bill this month to shield Bayer from these Roundup lawsuits. A similar bill is being discussed in 6 other states. We're waiting to see what Wisconsin decides to do.
The average payout for settling a Roundup lawsuit is around $150,000. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was at the EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh this week, where he said the recently passed Big Beautiful Bill includes $12.5 billion for modernization of the Federal Aviation Administration's air traffic control system. Duffy said that will include updating the FAA's telecom system and replacing aging radar. Duffy, a former Wisconsin congressman who's also serving as interim director of NASA, also announced a new FAA rule that removes what he called outdated regulations that have impeded innovation and safety in the recreational light sport aviation sector. Speaking of EAA, our Brittany Merlot is on the grounds.
It's AirVenture Week in Oshkosh, and EAA stands for Experimental Aircraft Association, which means building your own plane. Built by individuals for education and recreation, it's called home built.
Then I decided I wanted to go faster, and so I decided I was going to build this.
That's Kent Ingram. He's from Nebraska and started flying back in '82 while he was still in high school between his junior and senior year. Now his bucket list is fulfilled. He built his own airplane.
I'd always wanted to build one. I'm very mechanically minded, and
Purchasing his kit from Rands, about 90 miles away from him, he started building it during COVID in 2020.
an airplane's just like a house. You make it look like a house really quick, but then the finish work takes a long time. And anytime you do something like an airplane project, it's just like going to college you're just intensely learning on a project of how the system, and I have a brother that's an A&P, so I'm pretty familiar with it, but still did a lot of learning and building, and it's just, I like hands-on stuff.
Yeah. A lot of work, time, and money. I asked him, was it worth it?
Actually, the most difficult parts is the electronic, the panel part, because I'm flying a PA-11 Cub, which has a airspeed indicator and a compass and an altimeter to a glass panel with an autopilot, and I still haven't tackled all that yet.
A Texas music nut. He said he'll be headed south soon with it.
It's a lot of fun. It'll be a good traveling airplane.
Hosting plenty of home-built exhibits right here in Oshkosh this week.
I guess it's retirement eventually.
For Civic Media News, I'm Brittany Merlot.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Brewers coming home. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, a good West Coast trip for the Brewers, winning 5 of their 6 games. Yesterday, 17 hits in a 10-2 victory over the Mariners. Bryce Terang went 3 out of 5 with 3 runs batted in. Manager Pat Murphy.
Terang, responded with some hits and a lot of good performances. Ortiz really good, played good defense, relentless, kind of stayed with it, scored in a bunch of different innings. That's what it takes.
The Brewers at home tomorrow night against the Marlins. NFL, the Packers training camp underway. The players getting their first look at their new state-of-the-art locker room.
Oh man, I was amazed. Obviously, we knew all throughout OTAs that they've been building this new locker room and putting a lot of work into it. This is completely different than obviously the locker room we were in before, and it's very cool. So very high tech. Everything's very nice in here. So we're definitely blessed to be in here.
That's Packers quarterback Jordan Love with sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
The music industry is mourning the death of Ozzy Osbourne. Tributes from fellow musicians, including his former band Black Sabbath, the band Osbourne helped found, but was also asked to leave due to substance abuse issues in 1979. Osbourne later joined the band for reunion tours about 10 years ago, and they played together just a few weeks ago, which was Osbourne's final show. Ozzy passed away Tuesday at the age of 76 after struggling with health issues for years. More music news. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham are obviously up to something. Last week, they both posted on Instagram the lyrics to the song Frozen Love, with Nicks posting "And If You Go Forward" and Buckingham finishing the lyric "I'll Meet You There." Speculation, according to Yahoo Entertainment, is that they are re-releasing Buckingham Nicks, their album from 1973, a prior work to them joining Fleetwood Mac. More rumors have been fueled now that a billboard is up on Sunset Boulevard near the studio where the album was recorded. Subtle stuff. Another potential big-time blockbuster hits the big screen this weekend at your local theaters. Fantastic Four: First Steps is the latest mega movie summer release, and reviews are pretty good. The film, which stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and the Bears' Ebon Moss-Bacharach, is currently pulling an 87% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. If you're wondering about the plot, well, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say there's a lot of superhero-type stuff happening. If you're tired of franchise or superhero films and want a good scare, you have 2 options this weekend. The first has only 1 review, and it is negative. It stars Pete Davidson, and the early buzz is it wouldn't surprise me if the movie poster read, "Don't get your hopes up." The second is called Together, and it is pulling a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Together stars Dave Franco and Allison Brie and follows the story of a couple who decide to move to the country, which sounds great in real life, but in the movies, it is never a good idea. Let's go to the movies. One of the biggest films of the summer is Lilo and Stitch. The film broke a record with a Memorial Day opening of $183 million at the box office. It made over $4 million domestically and $1 billion worldwide. The film is now available to stream on Amazon Prime. You can purchase the film for $30 or rent it for $25. That's how they get you. Lilo and Stitch is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with audience scores in the 90%. Fun for the whole family. It's been said that imitation is the highest form of flattery. We'll see if Elon Musk is flattered now that Luca Guadagnino has reportedly found an actor to play Musk in his new film Artificial. According to Variety, actor Ike Barinholtz, star of Apple TV's The Studio, will play the former Trump chump in the film, which has been called a comedic drama set in the world of artificial intelligence. Amazon MGM is the studio behind the project, which is still in development. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Partly to mostly cloudy with scattered showers and thunderstorms today. Our high right around 84 this afternoon. Tonight, 65. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 83. The heat and humidity will return with 80s to low 90s by the weekend and a few scattered thunderstorms, especially on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently at 74.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.